Well, greetings, viewers, and thanks for joining me outside the shop today. Another minute on the LS swap in the shop truck. Yes, I have been driving it, obviously. Just went today and picked up something. It tows amazing, it runs amazing, it drives amazing. It still has the u0107 code. I still have the pedal issue. I still have the wires all just hanging out here like sketty because I wanted to figure out the issue first. Well, I finally had to give up and go see an electric guy. And he said, don't worry about how it looks. I've seen everything. We popped the hood. He's like, yeah, that doesn't look that bad. He said, I see what you got going here. I know why you did it like you did. Holy fuck, what is that? And I said, that's where I cut them wires and I put them back together. And he said, the signal can be tripped for limp mode by a 0.85 second delay. I am all too familiar with the 0.85 second delay thing, as I keep seeing it in my research on the u0107 code. Now, he said, you may get proper continuity when you test these wires, but he said, you won't hardly notice a 3/4 second delay. He said, you might notice it, but he said, if you're watching and pushing the pedal and holding probes, and he said, you may think you got everything you need there, but he said, do yourself a favor. I will not look at that until that's fixed, because he said, right now, I'm going to tell you that's your first problem. I understand you got to fix the first obvious thing sometimes before you go to the next thing. This should not be under the hood. In this video, I'm going to show you the latest update. Now, do I still stand behind $1,100 LS swap? Yes. If I hadn't been stupid and cut those wires, I most likely would not be having a problem that I'm having right now. On this harness, I did go to eBay. I did, and boy, this sucker looks nice too. Comes with a whole instruction sheet. Comes with the fuse box. Everything's wired. My pedal, everything is wired. Enough wire to put things inside. Everything's labeled where it goes. In the instruction, it identifies all of these plugs. It's very well made. The plugs look nice. All right, there's the old one on the ground. Here's what I know so far. Save the purple wire that goes down and hooks to the starter. The alternator wire that powers that block over there, I left that on. Since I have found 3 to 5 or 9 things so far. Don't cut your purple wire out. Don't cut your red wire from your alternator over. Leave your battery wire that goes down to the starter. Your tack box has to be grounded. One important thing that I have learned, and I hope I can find it for you here real quick. All right, this is a TCC brake switch diagram. My 1990 Chevy does not have but a 2-prong brake light switch. For the 05 fuel injection and 4L60E, you need a TCC brake switch. I did not take that from the donor truck because I was unaware. This tells you how to wire it up. I bought the kit from these people. I'll tell you who they are at the end if it all works right, but I had to buy, ignore that cooling fan diagram, but I had to buy a brake switch that gives power on when the brakes are on and gives power off when the brakes are on. Okay? I didn't know that when I ordered this, but I saw it in there. It says to order it. It gives you the kit number. You don't want to unhook any of this shit with your battery hooked up. Okay, now my old harness and stuff I had shoved in this corner. This harness is designed to be computer inside, OBD2 port inside like it should, gauges inside, the drive-by wire can be in or out. It can run across and come out the driver's side, okay? The rest of this harness is designed to be put in from the inside, shoved through. Now it says drill a 2-inch port. I'm using the factory square port down here. You can see the birth of a wire right there coming through it, but I'm using that. Here's part of the harness, okay? Just literally start from the furthest point away and start stuffing it through that hole. Fuse block. This wire goes to key on. All right, now the first thing I did after I shoved it through this factory hole down here that you probably can't see is cut that little grommet loose of the harness. It's just got a little piece of tape around it to hold it in place there. You can take that loose and move it. All right, let's see. Got it all hooked up-ish, kind of. 5 things I don't like about it already. I don't know if there's 5, but let's see. It's kind of short. All right, I brought it through and got it where it needs to go. The injector plugs were nice. The throttle body plug was nice. The coil pack plug is nice. For some reason, they put a male end on for the O2 sensors. Now, that's just weird because that's weird. I don't know if they make a female to female extension, but I may have to end up changing the pins and plugs on one of these. I have plugs. Mass airflow. They clearly expected a different kind of air cleaner, and the mass airflow is too short. So if you count the O2s, because they did it on both sides, as 2 things, that's 2. The mass airflow won't reach. That's 3, which is okay, because I can move it to right here and run the engine and come up with some other kind of air cleaner or something or something. I could maybe extend that. I don't know. We'll see. There was no plug for the oil pressure sending unit. Now here it tells you what plugs you get. You get 8 injector plugs, 2 coil plugs, basically 2 O2 sensors, your 2 transmission plugs, mass airflow, alternator, ETC or ECT, which is engine coolant temperature, your throttle body, NOx sensor, map sensor, cam sensor, there's your other O2, your crank sensor, and your starter and your ground. Okay, I counted all 24 of those plugs out. There's no oil pressure sending unit wires. I cut them out of the other harness. Maybe they expect you to do your own, oil pressure gauge. So, do I like the harness? Yes. Does it look good? Yes, it does. It's very svelte in there. Now, I chose to run it up, over, and across. I got everything hooked up on the back. Pretty much, I mean, it went right in. Oh. They sent a 2-wire plug for the alternator, but they gave me, where is it? Right here. They gave me this plug for the alternator and it's wrong. I took the one off my old harness and put it on there. I'm gonna hook those two wires together. So that's it so far. That's all I found wrong. Okay, so I was able to put the throttle body, the mass airflow sensor, directly onto the throttle body. That will work. If I put all this back together and it works just because of new wires, then I'm going to be so happy. You need battery to frame, battery to body, battery to engine. Then you need engine to body, engine to frame, engine to battery. Okay, so everything is connected. I'm going to double check all those. I think I already got them all, but I'm going to check them all again just for shits and giggles. I don't like that. I wonder if the fan spinning will make a difference. I'll change that. Yeah, I'll try to just put that where it works. I liked having the factory box over here, but it does look a little cleaner. Okay, so I'm waiting for my brake light switch. I need to do something with those O2 sensors. And that's it. The brake light switch has shipped. It's on its way. All right, this, excuse me, this little doodad here, the KW206 onboard computer and gauge by Conwee, or Conwee. It's cheap. It's like 40 bucks. It will give you your tachometer, your coolant temperature, voltage, average mile per gallon. You can set it to all kinds of different things. I saw this, like I said, in my buddy's car. It's tiny, yes, but as a tach and a written, you know, words, letters, numbers, whatever the hell speed's measured in, lights up on there also. Now, I don't know that I will keep this or use this, as I hope to hook up most of my gauges back or put analog gauges in, but this would be neat to shove in there in place of the speedometer and tach, perhaps. I'm not sure. Just a quick minute on that. Well, all right, boys and girls, here's the answer. Who all was suspecting that those messed up tack box wires were the problem? They aren't there anymore. But that's what the problem was, just like everybody said all along, just like my buddy told me from the beginning. Wire connections are important, grounds are important, and even though I was getting continuity, apparently it was slow enough that it wasn't sending signal. Now, you don't see that box, but you do see the new harness. I showed where I put that up there. Everything else plugged in. Of the 5 things I didn't like because the alternator plug was wrong, I fixed that. The 2 O2 sensors were wrong, and they told me to go flip sand because they didn't care that it didn't plug in. They had nothing to offer. So I won't tell who I got it from. Fuck them. The rest of it works, though, like it should, but I did have to cut my old O2 sensor wires off and graft them onto this harness. Let's see. Otherwise, it was really nice. So, yeah, instead of bashing them, I'm just not going to give them any props. So there, you can see where I had to graft that one on. I tried to clean up everything. That white and black wire goes to this light up here. The red wire and the purple wire are still just laying out. I kind of forgot to secure them, but they're not going to touch anything hot. And it's, you know, when I get to the show circuit with this, I'll tidy those up a little bit. But this harness is very nice. Everything fit proper except the alternator and the 2 O2s. All 3 were easy fixes using the pieces off my old harness, even though I didn't want to splice them. it didn't hurt anything for me to do that. That wire's hot. It probably shouldn't be laying over there. Let's see what else. We'll go inside here in a minute. You see, I even brought some more of that out so it was more relaxed. And it was kind of a tight fit, but everything had plenty of reach. Everything worked just fine. Let's see, what was the fifth thing I didn't? Oh, the no oil sending unit plug. That they give me the dash wire for it, but not, yeah. So anyway, that solved my pedal problem. I still have to remedy my air cleaner. I still have to do my carrier bearing. I ruined that freaking brand new tire that I got the flat on because it got the flat on the inside sidewall and it fucking ruined it. So I had to buy a new tire. Now, my wiring inside. Slim is showing you this brake light switch I still have to put in. My truck has a weird brake light switch that doesn't look like that, so I got to make one that does look like that, or a bracket for it, or drill a hole or something under there. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that difficult, but they give me the little pigtail plug. The other plug fits my factory plug for brake lights. So I got to work that out yet. These purple and yellow wires are the ones that go with that purple and red wire there. That's why I still have them laying out here. They're my other gauge wires and cruise wires. I haven't dealt with that yet because I don't have to, other than the brake light switch wires for my torque converter lockup. I kind of tucked everything nice and neat up away. I already covered it up. But I meant to show you under this panel right here, that's where I put my tack box. So my throttle control box is under there. It's grounded. I bolted a ground strap to the base and then grounded it directly to the chassis. Over here, you can see where the wire come up through the firewall. You can see that bunch going up under the dashes, the pedal wires. This bunch going down here is what I still have to hook up with my brake light switch before I can drive. So I still can't drive, but at least my freaking throttle pedal works. Now I busted my hinges off, so I just taped that on. This is not for use, but it is for the computer. Now I put the computer roughly in the same area the other computer was in. There's all my wires up there, you can see, before I come down and run them under over there. They're all separated, but they're nice and secured. Those two brown wires are ones I had to wire in myself to the back of the relay to make my fuel pump work. So one comes from power here that I robbed off one of these dead plugs, and the other, it goes down and under and over to my fuel pump so that it operates properly. It's a nice fit under here. Yeah, my little box isn't mounted. I could mount it right here, and I might, but I don't see what it matters. Relays don't care if they're upside down, and fuses don't care if they're upside down. So there's all my wires. Here's my silly glove box, taped on, but at least it's back on. And it's so much neater and tidier and better than the one I did. I wish I had more skills. I'm sure I could have done that right, and if I wouldn't have cut them wires, we wouldn't be here talking about this right now. I still haven't tried the box yet. I'm going to try it. I was just so happy to have it working where the throttle pedal works. Yeah, I still got to wire that in, but Slim's going to protect it for me until I get to it. It come with a little instruction sheet. I had to use, it was supposed to send me 2 connectors too with that harness, but they didn't. All right, yeah, just had the trickle charge on it there because it sat for a little while. I think that might clear the hood. I don't know, I haven't tried yet, but I think so. If not, I can easily tilt that a little bit. I want to drive it around too much with no air cleaner and the fan blowing directly into that mass airflow sensor. So wants to play ball, I sure appreciate you. Like, subscribe, comment. It's free, easy, and painless if you feel like doing that. Most of all, I just appreciate you watching. Maybe you learned something. Ask questions if you have them. The harness I bought was really nice overall, even though it did have a couple little issues. It was 75 bucks, so, you know, on eBay. So enough about that. Appreciate you a whole bunch. Have a super great day.